Hey everybody, hope everyone is doing well today. I know it's overnight, I know it's been a while since I haven't done a video. It's just technical difficulties, so much time, you name it. I could go on all day. Good news for Julian Assange. He's getting the truth out there. Hopefully, he's going to shake things up. I mean, I've heard he's possible controlled opposition, but again, I do think that it's important that he's getting the documents out there, and hopefully he can dig some truth about the Route 91 incident that we had about 7 years ago. Now, going back to the video I was talking about several days that couldn't execute properly, my channel has been taken down, or my channel has been in jeopardy right now, for the last several months because of the videos I made, particularly about race in the last several years. So it's kind of like I did a video in 2021 that got taken down in this year, and then I did another video in 2022 and it got taken down like a few weeks after. It's just disgusting how they're taking the videos this year instead of then. So at least I know what's going on and I didn't put my channel in jeopardy. Then again, we had Juneteenth, the politicians, the corporations, the NGOs, they keep hyping it up, they keep celebrating it, they keep promoting all this. It's all just double standard. It's all just guilt. Look, folks, if you're going to have such a holiday like this, you might as well have this all over Latin America, all over the Middle East, including Iran, the country my parents come from, about this, because we're all guilty about this, about having slaves who are descent of Africa. Not to mention the fact that East African blacks were enslaved before and after the Europeans had them here in the United States. But nobody really talks about that. The Arab castration, the list goes on. Really, the elephant in the room is what's causing all this is the fact you have all these differences in overall achievement. And this brings in systemic racism, you name it. So as a result, people don't know what are the causes of it. I've told you about the causes of it, which I can't because YouTube will take this video down. I've done my fair share. Basically, it's just disgusting the way it is. I'm going to be moving these topics, these conversations, these viewpoints towards Rumble, and hopefully we'll be able to accelerate and bring these topics more in a more attractive environment. I really want to talk about the elections that's really going on because, and by the way, before I get into that, the turnout was just dismal. It's very disappointing. In addition to the fact, recently I was at a town hall event hosted by John Rothstein, Nevada Independent, Vegas PBS, and it was a very low turnout. I mean, it's no wonder why people complain about Formula One race and not a lot of is being done to fight it, because people don't participate. They don't fight back. They don't have balls. They don't take to the streets. They're very passive people. That's just the brutal truth. And this can really reflect the elections, pretty much everything that's going on. I'm going to tell you what my forecast long term is really going to be. Okay. I don't think things are looking really good for Sam Brown. He's lagging in the polls. He just doesn't even have a message to bring a lot of the independents. So as of right now, I don't think he's going to get it. Now, the polls are looking pretty good for Donald Trump in this state. I think he has a better shot taking Nevada. I just don't think he has a better shot taking Nevada than Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota he has a better shot in that, because you know how the election is here in Nevada. Even though the polls are looking pretty favorable for him, then again, we have to look at also the county by county basis. Now, some polls have shown that even he's leading in Clark County. So this could be a welcoming sign. Then again, I'm not going to get into the details of it, what could happen 3 o'clock in the morning after the election day. You know what I'm talking about. Things could get a lot of strange things that could come out of the blue. As far as county commission, and one of the ways I can determine how things are going to turn out is you have to look at the total Republican votes and the total Democrat votes. in all the other candidates in the primary election and then use that to forecast the general. So as you can see in the county commission race, I'm looking pretty optimistic about April Becker as of now. I think April Becker, if you look at the total Republican votes that were given in that district and compare with the Democrat votes, and that includes Hunter Kane, the guy who I interviewed a while back ago with Sharon Axelrod, those total votes are not matching up the Republican votes. So it seems like April Becker has a chance of flipping it. In terms of the state legislature, look, we still have to deal with the issues of redistricting. Apparently, the way they redistricted one Senate race in the northern part of the state around Reno is likely to flip because of the redistricting. So that could give Republicans a super minority in the state Senate. However, there's a lot of seats. Again, a lot of Democrats have obviously resigned or they're not running for re-election because of some scandals, money being shuffled towards NGOs. There's a pretty good chance a lot of the assembly seats are going to flip, especially in the outer fringes of the Las Vegas Valley. In terms of Congress, I think that Drew Johnson has a good chance, although not as high as I hoped it to be. He has a better shot than John Lee. I think John Lee has a chance because I think he can get a lot of independents. Now, as far as Mark Robertson, Dina, Titus, I'm not too optimistic about that. But we'll have to see because remember, things are not looking good for the Democrats compared to where they were in 2022 or in 2020. The polls are really showing it. Now, as you know, the voter ID ballot initiative has gotten way more the signatures that it needed. Now, we have to see if the court is going to approve it. I guess there's going to be a lot of pressure. They're going to have to bring it on. We'll see how it goes through. And I believe if it goes through the election, if we can vote on it, there's a pretty good chance that it will get passed through. And by the way, the pretty good chance that the abortion petition initiative is going to get through as well. But remember, we have to really look at the broad picture, which is the system, the establishment, the one county monopoly central control that we have, the deep state, the criminal elements of Wall Street have taken over the casinos, the unions, the NGOs, they've built their machine. That is where really the heart of the problem is. That's where we really, really have to fight. And we see that there's a lot of symptoms coming from this problem. If you look at the Red Rock scandal that came from Justin Jones, the deleted text messages, this is not looking good for the county commissioners, certainly. And I think this is really the symptom of the problem and how all these politicians keep defending each other constantly over and over again. As far as everything is concerned, look, the Biden approval rating is just pretty dismal right now. It's pretty sad. It's hard for me to see how he's going to win re-election. But again, anything is possible. The real reason I think Biden is struggling, the way I see it, it's not just solely his health, the issues that's getting worse, immigration, cost of living. There's really two parts behind it that the media doesn't really want to tell you. One, I think that the Democrats and Biden were huge cheerleaders of COVID, the lockdowns, mandates, the jabs. More and more people are realizing these efforts were not what they were supposed to be. The promise pretty much failed. And I think the other issue is that more and more people are realizing that, remember, Biden is a result of the Obama era. Obama ran in 2008. He campaigned on lowering gas prices. He wanted to lower healthcare costs. He wanted to get rid of the corruption, cronyism in Wall Street, stop the conflicts in the Middle East. But we're starting to really see that Biden was really more of the same that Obama campaigned in 2008 to get rid of, and also instead got worse. In order to distract and divide the masses, they use all these cultural issues, these issues that people claim that they're woke, to pretty much distract and get our minds away to sort of make themselves look good and prey on new supporters. Well, this is really, really backfiring. When you look at all these illegals that have come over, who knows how many million, could be 20 million people, you can see signs that we're embracing a potential chance of military conflict, potential World War III. They're bringing in the draft. There could be a lot of false flags. Anything is happening, believe it or not. Not to mention that the outsourcing, I wanted to tell you about this, John Deere, is still happening. This is what they campaigned on. They were going to get rid of the trade deals. They were going to stop the outsourcing, but it didn't really happen as well as they were led to believe. It's very disappointing, folks. And this is one of the things you've got to really keep in mind. As far as everything is going, we've got the establishment politics, but we've also got a flawed economic system. The tourism sector is having issues. We're seeing the legacy of the former CEO, Jim Murren of MGM Resorts. The polls have showed that a lot of tourists are not really delighted with their experiences, the prices and everything. Remember, the heart of the issue is really the Strip. Okay, I was able to go to the Palms pool for free, check it out. There's a lot of great things out there, but the Strip is really the heart of the problem. It's really increasingly catering to the top 10% of income earners. A lot of massive credit card spending. We're seeing delinquencies go up, a lot of foreign arrivals. It's increasingly dependent on conventions. We can see that the Tropicana has been raised. We'll see if the stadium is going to get built. It still looks quite uncertain. I'm certainly going to miss the Mirage. Again, Mirage didn't really do so well in terms of wanted to be preserved. I think this is really a sign to show that the corporate giants, because MGM owned Mirage, this just to show you that it's a sign that maybe these large companies should not own too much like they should. It makes you think what would have happened if Harrah's and Caesars, Mandalay, MGM, and Mirage didn't all merge back in the mid-2000s. Imagine how things would have been. But best of luck to Hard Rock. See how that turns out. Believe it or not, the hotel, when it was transferred ownership, their parking policy wasn't as concerning, keep in mind. But yeah, we'll see how the guitar is going to shape out. We're going to need new hotels. There's a lot of new hotels underway. We'll see if they get built. The Dream Hotel, if you look at the Harmon one, if you look at the Jewish one behind Treasure Island, Wynn is planning to build one. There's the Majestic. Fontainebleau just bought some land. There's the Atari. Circus is in jeopardy. There's a 7-star hotel north of Fontainebleau. There's just a lot of potential. We need more of these hotels to bring more and more competition. And I hate to tell you this. I don't want to sound like a jackass, but we're going to need a crash in the economy to really settle things out right, to make things more affordable. And yeah, there are some good deals. I was able to get 2 Cirque du Soleil shows with taxes and fees and everything in a better seating for about $200. I'm going to tell you how those shows go out. Then again, I got those discounts. There's still opportunities out there. But overall, there's just a lot of things that really the Strip itself, especially in Las Vegas, could really work on. Real estate's definitely a concern out there. There's just no question about it. We've got a housing concern, although it barely has changed from 2022 home prices and rent. It's really hurting the Democrats in the election. Remember, we still have the adjustable rate mortgages. We have the low money down payments. Inventory is certainly a concern. Although, yes, they got a low rate several years ago, but there's other costs as well. There's price cuts that's accelerating. Keep that in mind. And again, the median home price, that's really the median listing price. So you got to understand that sometimes that can be deceiving because you're more likely to see more high-end homes in the market. So that makes people think that the real estate market is pretty good. So then again, the statistics can be kind of misleading. There's a lot of growing demand to allow more federal lands. I think that's going to really have an impact. Remember, then again, we did not have a true recovery from the 2008 financial crisis, a proper recovery. We did not audit the Federal Reserve. They lowered interest rates. The large financial giants bought up a lot of the foreclosures from the financial crisis. However, we are seeing signs that the real estate market is turning over. You look at Florida, you look at Austin, you look at San Francisco. Eventually, this will hit the Las Vegas area. And the rents are not climbing up like they used to. In fact, in this area and around the Strip, rents are pretty much flat. Again, you also have to look at new home sizes. They've shrunk. The prices have come down. All these different things. And yes, I do think this area is going to keep growing. But just because the area grows doesn't mean the prices have to go up. It all depends on inventory, new home construction. People are still moving out of places like California. Google just announced they're leaving San Francisco. All these things matter. HOA can certainly be a burden to a lot of people. I think a lot of people want to avoid HOAs. I mean, I can share you my experience with Mountains Edge DHOA. Exploration Park has a parking lot where I could park and do the hike, because last week they had not so hot temperatures. I mean, I think a few days ago or yesterday we had temperatures that got close to 110 degrees. So we do get some breaks. And because of the HOA, they had to have a farmer's market on the parking lot. And as a result, it was so difficult for me to find parking. I had to park in a nearby shopping center. It's just these HOAs are crazy. I have to tell you that. We are seeing signs that investors are trimming. Keep this in mind. And investors have to deal with other costs. Taxes, insurance, homeowners. These are all very important things. We're seeing signs that the real estate market is turning around. However, the question is, it's not easy to point out, will this be a 15% correction or a 60% crash? Time will really, really tell. As far as the stock market goes, again, it doesn't really reveal the true economy. We hit near all-time highs. We're sort of going into a correction for now, although we'll have to see if this continues on and on. But remember, it's those few stocks like NVIDIA that's pulling all the weight. If this market continues to correct, I see it as a buying opportunity. There is a chance that it's just a few days of a break. It could go up much faster, and we're going to continue to make all-time highs. However, keep in mind that you have to look at adjusted for inflation, because we peaked in 2021, the NASDAQ. There's a lot of signs that show it's overvalued. The relative strength indicator. Now, just because something is overvalued doesn't mean you have to sell. You have to look at earnings. That's very important. The unemployment rate, we're seeing signs that that's tipping higher. So if these indicators are not looking good, there can be a lot of potential signs pointing out that this long-term bull market that we've seen, it's time to sell and get out. Okay. Not to mention, you have to look at fiscal spending. Bitcoin, I'm looking still very optimistic. As far as oil, I'm not too bullish on that, because we have to see if the economy is seeing signs of slowdown. But then again, we have to look at the conflicts of the Middle East. Anything could happen. Gold, there's potential upside, although I'm not looking at gold shooting to the moon, all these dollar collapse, doomsday, gold bugs out there. I'm not looking at that. Gas prices have been falling. There's some good news. And I have talked about this for years. Our governor is now speaking out against California, is fueling so much Nevada in terms of their gasoline supply. They're concerned about the new bill. It's hard to say that the California bill will cause supplies to drain up, but then again, it's true though that the regulations in California created a climate for the oil refineries to gouge prices and get away with it, which affects our prices here as well. Then again, you can argue that yes, this election matters in terms of fuel prices, but my number one issue, which I've mentioned in the Nevada Independent Town Hall, is urban planning. Urban planning here in Las Vegas is a disaster. Most of us live in tiny lot homes, multifamily homes. We're very car dependent. And this is where we have to deal with car insurance, all these different things. We could use new developments that are more traditional. And that's part of not only my long-term goals in terms of development and planning, but I'm part of a organization called Strong Towns, which we have a local chapter here in Las Vegas. We want to put something that's more traditional, fight against arterial routes, which are these routes that are difficult to cross the street, like Decatur, Blue Diamond, St. Rose, and so forth. Fight parking minimums, because we believe this is a very, very important issue. I've addressed this issue to the Regional Transportation Commission, and hopefully we're going to address this to developers as time moves on. Yeah, we've got a lot of work to do. The future sounds bright. It's going to be very turbulent, but stay tuned. I will have more updates to come. Thank you.